Arrived cracked in so many different places.
Literally, I'm not even kidding right now. I started crying and bawling my eyes out in the produce aisle.
It's not government, you idiots. It's the corporations. They realize
machinery, and you continue to manufacture piece of crap machinery.
See, how's your $55 burger at the Baccarat tonight?
But they happen to be under siege because of, you guessed it, private equity.
To pack the entire thing back up, shove it in the tiny little box that it came in somehow, like a Mary Poppins box.
That tells you right there that they have the lowest quality hamburger meat that you can buy.
like, why don't we have that anymore? And everyone's like, capitalism,
As heck, why is one dresser, $2,000? That is enough to pay a lot of people's rent.
In today's episode, we are discussing everything has gotten too cheap in the United States. Now, I know there's going to be some people who comment this is nothing new, but to me, this definitely seems like a phenomenon that is accelerating and things are even getting more expensive, which is adding insult to injury. Now, there was once a time in this country, not too long ago, where lots of things were built. They were built to last. Things like furniture, appliances, things like that. But nowadays, it is very difficult to find quality. Most things are manufactured overseas, and these companies are building things with the idea in hand that it's going to break in a few years, and then you'll have to come back and buy another one. It seems like a lot of these companies are in cahoots. Got a number of clips in this video, and we're going to focus on products, but of course service in general is another thing that has declined. And of course, like we talk about all the time on this channel, prices have gone up prices have gone up exponentially on a lot of this stuff, and it's definitely getting scary out there how much a lot of this stuff is starting to cost.
Literally, I'm not even kidding right now. I started crying and bawling my eyes out in the produce aisle of Big Y because everything is just fake and fucking disgusting looking and nothing is organic, and it's just, God, dude, it's just not fair, dude. Like, why can't we get real fucking produce? Like, I feel like shit today. I just wanted some fucking fruit. Okay. That's not happening. I hate this country. I fucking hate this country. I fucking hate this country.
See, how's your $55 burger at the Baccarat tonight?
Well, it would have been much better if it would have got here an hour ago when I ordered it.
Okay, we talk about food a lot on this channel. I'm not going to spend too much time on these two clips here, but food is definitely something you have to be careful for. A lot of these foods today are bioengineered. We're seeing shrinkflation at its worst. You go and buy a bag of potato chips and it's just filled with air and there's barely anything in it. On top of all this, you don't know the chemicals that are in this food. We don't know what it's going to do to us. And it's very hard to find all natural food, anything that's organic. Not even if you're not like really into that type of stuff, the amount of chemicals that you taste when you bite into certain types of things these days, it's just getting worse and worse. Even things that you thought were safe, like I thought a good burger would be safe, but even a lot of places I go and have a burger and it just does not taste natural at all. Let's go ahead. Let's look at the next clip here.
Bed frame for our anniversary. Well, it's here. Yeah, part of it. And it not only arrived cracked in so many different places, gouges out of the baseboards, beautifully wrecked furniture that we paid full price for. Love that for us. And I contact customer service from Wayfair, and they offer me 20%. Or get this, we have to pack the entire thing back up, shove it in the tiny little box that it came in somehow, like a Mary Poppins box, drive an hour round trip, and ship it back ourselves. Your girl said, no freaking way. Let me see your manager. I pulled it. I did it, you guys. This is 20%. Well, I got him up to 60, and your girl was feeling rather, I can fix that, okay? 60% refund, and we get to keep an $800 bed? Okay. It's our room. We're going to be the ones that see it. We can just get some paint, you know? Well, I'm feeling all bad and ambitious, and we're trying to set up our bed. There's no bolts. I am currently sitting on the floor in what should be our nice new bed frame, and we can't frickin' put it together.
Okay, so this woman is definitely, I would not recommend buying something like that from a site like Wayfair. I think that it's a little bit too dangerous in terms of if you run into some sort of scenario and you have to return a big bulky item like that, it's gonna be a pain in the butt. Sometimes when you do that stuff, they will make you go through a freight company and all sorts of mess like that. I've seen that happen to people I know. So big bulky items, mattresses, it's probably going to be better just to buy it out. That's just my personal preference. I'm sure that there's some items out there, of course, that you could buy, and there's good quality companies that will back up their guarantee to let you return it and things like that. Now, the state of furniture in the United States has definitely taken a downturn, and these days, when I was growing up, it was all, you know, wooden dressers, wooden nightstands. And today it's IKEA bookshelves, things like that. I mean, hey, I got an IKEA bookshelf. I got a couple of them in my house. But it's definitely sad to see that. They definitely do not last too long. And, you know, they're made from crummy particle board and they barely give you enough screws and stuff to put them together. And that's just an example of another product that is just not being well made. I mean, it used to be the case you get a bookshelf, you may have to pay up a little bit more, and that thing's going to last you forever, but not so much today.
Mega pet peeve: people who have terrible customer service. Now, I will say the two lovely individuals that I talked to from Frigidaire in their customer service department were pleasant. But when you have a product that is faulty, not due to a warranty issue, just because it is a piece of crap machinery, and you continue to manufacture piece of crap machinery. Now, granted, I did not choose this refrigerator. I would have never chosen this refrigerator because I do not believe in the quality behind the pull drawer freezers. I think they fail 9 times out of 10, especially if you have small kids. Again, I did not choose that. It was chosen for me in my fifth wheel. But we have a residential grade fridge in our fifth wheel. It was replaced. This is the second time it's been replaced for a similar or same issue. A non-cooling issue. That's just a freak occurrence. But for some reason, this freak occurrence is my problem. This issue has been going on since October 31st of last year. My husband has been without a working fridge in our fifth wheel that he lives in while he works out of town for almost 9 months now. They sent technicians. The technician diagnosed it as non-repairable. Literally can't do anything about it. Tried to do the whole warranty bit. I'm like, it's not a warranty issue. This is not a warranty issue. The warranty is expired anyway. It doesn't matter. This is a failing of the machinery. The best we can do for you, ma'am, is give you a 40% rebate. Thank you, Helen. But a 40% rebate means I'm still spending over $1,000, closer to $2,000, to replace the same fridge. So tell me how that fixes my problem. Oh, well, we're gonna rebate you, or we're gonna refund you part of your service fee. Service fee was $351. So they have to take out for traveling and for the parts that they did replace that didn't.
Okay, I did a whole video on appliances. If you have not seen it, definitely check it out. Fridges are one area where consumers are being ripped off at the present time. What is happening specifically? These companies are going out, they're putting all these bells and whistles, making the fridges smart with timers and alarms, and you can change the temperature when you're a mile away and things like that. But meanwhile, inside, the critical components are made of just cheap plastic, things like that. These fridges are breaking down, they're freezing up, and then there's no sort of warranty and no sort of help for a lot of this stuff when people get into trouble. They're spending, $4,000, $10,000 sometimes on these fridges, and that is no exaggeration, no joke. You can see this stuff all over social media, and it's not just fridges, it's things like washer, dryer, stovetops, ovens, all sorts of stuff like that. A lot of times you think that this stuff, it's a good American company, but they're just putting this stuff together as cheap as possible overseas and then shipping it in and then being able to stamp it made in USA or something like that. So definitely be careful. A lot of times with these appliances, they can definitely screw you over. And I think it's, it could be definitely worth checking into buying just a simpler type. I know we have a simpler type of fridge in my garage, and it's lasted for years and it wasn't that expensive.
PhD in white labeling, you need to listen to this. So basically, if you don't know what white labeling is, it's basically why all of our furniture right now is so freaking expensive. You could go to any site. I don't even care if it's Wayfair, okay? It's expensive as heck. Why is one dresser, $2,000? That is enough to pay a lot of people's rent. It is so incredibly out of hand. They purchase it for like literally $80 and they mark it up by $1,300 at least, and then they sell it to you and people fall for it. So unless you want to give in to these companies just making literally billions of dollars off of you being stupid, listen up. So I'm shopping on Anthropologie. I found this dresser. I absolutely love it. There's absolutely no way in hell I would ever pay $3,000. So you literally go up to your browser, click right before the word, and then put dupe.com/ and then watch what it does. It'll find me all of these literally identical options for fractions of the price. Personally, I'm done being scammed. I'm not doing this anymore.
Over 22 million people live in manufactured housing, otherwise known as mobile homes. These homes right here have a big problem. Of course, they're the most affordable housing option that we have in the United States. Over 22 million people live in manufactured housing, otherwise known as mobile homes. But they happen to be under siege because of, you guessed it, private equity. If you happen to live in a manufactured home and in a manufactured home park, I'm sure that you've seen in your local news, these big conglomerates have been buying up mobile home parks and jacking up the rent.
The rent for their mobile home lots increased by 11% last month with no explanation as to why, and right before the sale of the properties to a new owner.
And when they purchase these parks, they're not doing it for the betterment of the community. What really happens is they spike up the rent and they make it so unaffordable that people are forced to move out. There's a few reasons for this. One of them is that they're trying to force them out so they could build more apartment buildings. But the second reason they do it is because they know they can. Even though the rents have spiked from $500 to $900, they'd be hard pressed to find an apartment or anywhere that they could rent for that amount of money. So they're kind of in a hard place.
Okay, so private equity is destroying many things in this country, and it looks like mobile homes is the next thing, or maybe it's already being hit. Now, this is definitely sad. As the woman mentioned, a lot of these people, they are just blue class workers. They're not really prepared for someone to come in and jack up their rent. And that's what private equity is doing. They've got their little hands in everything at this point. They've even got their hands in Little League baseball, youth sports, things like that, hospitals, all sorts of stuff. Things you wouldn't even think of where prices have gone up. Private equity has came in. They've made everything cheaper. They've gotten rid of everything with a lot of these places, these businesses that make them special and unique. And, they've gone in and they put in their own management. They're cutting these costs, and it's a big problem affecting a lot of industries. And I feel like it's only going to get worse at this point.
In the ER with my husband, and we went and got something to eat. Now, we ate this, okay? But we got some chicken tenders, piece of pizza, some pickles, some fries. That was like $17. And it's awful. It should be illegal to make you pay that much money at a hospital for food that tastes like shit. Just saying. And tell me, how in the world do people who work at hospitals afford to eat $17? How do you afford to eat? What if you work like 4 days? What is that? So we'll say 15 times 4. So that's $60 for shit food. Tell me how. I want to know.
A lot of TikTok videos circulating about how much more innovative and better designed appliances were, kitchen appliances. In, the 50s, the 70s, you had refrigerators with revolving doors, the chamber stove, right? Where you had a slow cooker and a stove top and a griddle. People in the comments like, why don't we have that anymore? And everyone's like, capitalism, Actually, it's Ford. It's the automobile industry, and it's not capitalism. I'll explain. This is actually one of my specialties because I studied media studies. I love to talk about this. This is the reason why I work in marketing. Basically, Ford, I'm going to make more than one video about this because I want it to reach as many people as possible. Ford, the car company, what happened was that with television, all of a sudden you had a new way to create content for people. Like, I need you to imagine that, like, everyone looking at this video right now has grown up with access to, you know, a CD player. So a way to listen to music that isn't tied to the radio, TBT. Some people still do that. I love that. I love to support the arts. A television, magazines, books, and now social media. Okay. So we often think, oh my God, remember a time before social media? But I need you to think to a time before TV. But there were still ways of reaching people. There was the radio. And all of a sudden you have the TV. And what they realized, I'm glossing over a lot of details, but what they realized, and by they, it's not the government. Everyone's like, the government. It's not the government. It's not government, you idiots. It's the corporations. They realized, oh my God, we have new ways to reach people who want to buy, who could buy things. So what they decided to do to make more money is planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence? I don't know how to pronounce it, but I do know that it exists. And that speaks for itself. It's designing things knowing that they're going to have a shelf life of like 3 to 5 years. That started with the automobile industry. And then it trickled over quickly. And it could have been one of those things where it's not like a clear, it started here and then caused the next one. It's more like that one rose up first and created an ecosystem where in many other industries that historically the point of creating a good product was designing one that was going to last. Designing something, whether it was an article of clothing, a kitchen appliance, or a car, even certain kinds of food that was actually, ironically, they made food that lasts forever, but appliances that last for 5 seconds. But the point was that they designed things that people could get rid of because then they'd have to get a new one. That's why we have Happy Honda days.
Okay, so this woman's giving some like history around this whole concept of companies coming out, them essentially not making their products as good, so you have to come back out and you have to buy something. Now, she's mentioning Ford. She might be correct. Definitely comment, let me know. I haven't looked deeply into this, where Ford came out and, you know, got to the point where they were making people come back every couple of years. She says Ford is responsible. I actually think it's more like Microsoft and Apple with software updates. They're the ones who came out and essentially made you get software updates every couple of years regardless. And then, of course, this transitioned into other things like we see it with the iPhone. You know, you've got to go out every couple of years or they just won't update your software on your phone and you run into all sorts of problems like that. So I don't know that Ford's responsible. She seems to say that it is. I guess I should take her word for it. But of course, she may be looking back at like the 60s, 50s, 60s around that time period. Whereas I'm thinking more around like the 80s, 90s when Microsoft and Apple started getting big and you really had to go out and you had to update that software, you know, every couple of years. And I feel like they're the ones who really are responsible for this.
Well, people of Marketplace, please stop trying to sell your couches for $300, $500, $1,000, $800. It's used. That's how much you bought it for. You sat your ass on that couch for 365 days plus, and now you want to sell it for the same price. No, they're $50. 50, 75, 100 even is a lot. But you should never be selling your couches for $300 fucking dollars. That's weird. Only time you should be pricing your couches for a lot is if they're a sectional. If it's just a 2-seater love seat, it should never, ever, 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 ever.
As a previous restaurant owner and a chef for about 35 years or so, maybe a little less, 32 years. When you go to a restaurant and on the menu or the server tells you that they got to cook their burgers to a certain temperature, like medium well, that tells you right there that they have the lowest quality hamburger meat that you can buy. Don't eat a burger. I wouldn't eat anything there if that was the case. But when they say that, because you go to a nice restaurant and they got good meat, they can make that bitch rare. But if they say that, that means they've got the trash ass ground beef that you can buy and they're feeding you dog food.